All right, folks, we're going to go ahead and get started. Thank you for coming in tonight. My name is Matthew Gay. I'm the principal for the high school. I think most of you probably know that. We have a lot of friends here tonight. We have our friends from Penn State York, Thaddeus Stevens, Hack, Harrisburg Area Community College, York College, and around on this side I have some of my AP teachers. So let me just give you an overview for the evening. We're going to talk, it won't be a long time in here, kind of about the scheduling process and how your student can build, can build a course selection, their course selection. They're not building schedules today, but they have the opportunity to create their course selection list, okay? The scheduling process is pretty complicated. It has a lot of steps, and it begins with two parts, and that's with our teachers making recommendations and with our students selecting courses, and they do that in concert. So at the same time, relatively, these guys started putting in their course recommendations a couple weeks ago, and then the students make their choices of what they want to do. So their elective courses, sometimes they want to take a course that's more rigorous than what was recommended. We usually say go for it, but that's the process. And then once that step is completed, and that takes a few weeks, once that step is completed, Dr. Bream will use our scheduling program to start maximizing matches. So making sure kids can get the courses they want. And really the idea here is we try to schedule the singleton courses, our advanced placement courses, music courses. We schedule those things first in a way so that we can get those filled, and then we have some flexibility with a course like English 10 Level 2 that's offered probably 5 or 6 times. We have some flexibility there. It's an amazing process. It's hard to believe it works as well as it does. We often are at like a 90 to 95% match rate in scheduling, which is kind of crazy considering the number of courses, the number of options we have. We have well over 100 courses in our course selection book and the number of students we have. So we're proud of how it works. It's not 100% foolproof. We'll make mistakes. Please let us know when we do, and we'll try and correct those mistakes. So today, we're going to start off by kind of walking you through this first part for students, and it's probably a little less familiar to students than it has been because we schedule through our Sapphire program, which you guys were familiar with. For those of you who have upperclassmen, you were familiar with Sapphire. That is our student information system, and that's the portal we use to do all of our scheduling. What you guys are familiar with is our learning management system, Schoology. But you can't schedule through Schoology. Schoology that's not a feature of Schoology. It's not intended to be. We still use Sapphire for scheduling. We have to have the Sapphire system because that's a student information system. That holds all the demographics. That's how we create report cards. So they're two separate tools with different intended purposes, and our kids really don't use Sapphire nearly as much as they used to. So there'll be a little bit of unfamiliarity, getting them familiar again with how to use Sapphire for scheduling, but we'll be able to walk them through that. It's not a very complicated process on this step. So thank you for coming tonight. Want to highlight some new courses and some changes that are coming up. We have an AP Physics course that'll be offered next year for the first time. Ms. Zarazia back there has designed an advanced placement physics course. It's 2 credits because it's a full year course. So it's a 2-credit course. It'll run full year, 80 minutes a day. And you'll have an opportunity to look at that and figure that out a little bit. We'll have a jewelry making and metal design class for the first time this year. Mr. Schaefer, our metals shop teacher, our metals teacher, is offering a jewelry making and metal design. He has a lot of expertise in this area. He's worked in the jewelry industry for quite a long time. He's been gathering equipment and materials so that students can start making jewelry. So trying to get in maybe more of an aesthetic or artistic bent into that metalworking piece. So we're excited about that. Our journalism program is going to have an honors level. So that would be broadcast media, so the people make the announcements in BBC, as well as our yearbook. They'll do a combined class called Honors Journalism. Essentially, it works like an advanced level of journalism. So there's kids who have taken those courses before, really are into it, want to take a leadership opportunity, they have the chance to take Honors Journalism. And then we have a whole slew of math electives that will be going before the board to be voted on in March. They're in our book pending board approval. So we're We're really excited about some math electives, and they're really more for upperclassmen. Freshmen and sophomores will basically be taking, the regular Algebra 1, Algebra 2 geometry courses, but our upperclassmen will have some opportunities for math electives, courses like cryptology. We have a personal finance course. We have some statistics classes. We have a trades math that's being developed, a math for the arts that's being developed. So we have some interesting courses being developed. So they'll be in our course catalog, and we'll be able to share with you how to see that. All right, so we're going to go on to Sapphire. I have it pulled up on my computer, and I'll tell you how to get there. And that's going to help us and show you what you're going to do. You don't have to do this here tonight. You can do it from your home, but I think it's good to have some help if you need it, and you have some people who can give you counsel, right? They can give you some assistance and explain some things. But because this is hosted on Sapphire, and it's available remotely, you're able to access it on your own. We'll go actually all the way to the beginning. If you go, and you probably do this on occasion, go to the school district website. If you go over here, and I would tell you to go to the employee portal, you'll still have access to this. That should come up, and you're just going to go to Sapphire. There was a weird thing happening with the link on the parent portal, so just go to the employee portal. You want to go to Sapphire, and you want this part, the community portal. You'll go to the community portal, you'll be asked for a login, a password, and a PIN. I don't have them all in front of me, but when you go to the RMC to work with Dr. Bream and staff, she'll be able to provide you the login, password, and PIN for any student who doesn't recall theirs. Again, as I mentioned, our students aren't using Sapphire very much anymore. They use Schoology on a daily basis. They're not using Sapphire, so they may not remember their password and PIN. Not a big deal, we can get it for them. All right, so we have, and I'm going to bring up Ms. Bizignani. Where'd she go? Oh, there she is. I'm going to bring up Ms. Bizignani to kind of walk us through this. She created a student so that you can see what this looks like. So you'll go to that same portal we just had, and you'll be able to do this about 15 minutes, and we'll have her walk through a selection there and what a course selection looks like.
Okay, do we have it up for the other one? Yeah. So you click on course request form, and then this will come up. Now, this is for somebody who will be scheduling as a 12th grader. So when the student goes in, whichever grade they're going into next, it'll show 9, 10, 11, 12. So you click on the fill out course request form, and you will start to see it starts with the 4 major subjects: English, math, science, and social studies. So if you click on the question mark on any of these, it actually gives you the course description. So if you don't have the course selection book with you, or you don't have it pulled up online, that's okay. It actually gives you the course description there. So I tell students on the left-hand side is your first choice picks. Those are the things that you're picking. The alternative choices are going to come down a little bit further. So each student must pick a math, science, English, and social studies course. On some of the course is when students go in, they might see already that a recommendation has been made by the teacher they have for the math, science, or English and social studies course. That will come up in green. With our student here, we don't have anything highlighted in green. If it's highlighted in green, it was a recommendation by the teacher they had for that subject. If you do see the green and it's clicked in the math, science, English, or social studies, it will not be able to unclick. You have to see the course teacher for that, and then they can make an adjustment in the recommendation if you want something different.
That's something that the student can coordinate. Like,
yes.
You don't have to go do it as a parent. Like, you tell your kid.
Go see the, right, exactly. So if we scroll down, like I said,
Want to close this one?
Close that one, and then you can see up in the upper right-hand corner where it says credits. Students must pick 8 credits worth of classes, since that's what fills our time block from fall and spring semester. So as you pick classes, let's just say pick an English course, like,
You want to go to next 11?
Yep. So now an English course has been picked, and you can see that the 1 credit has been noted. Continue to scroll down, pick a math course. And again, you're picking the math course in sequence to what is next. So the course selection book also helps guide you with what would be the next in the math selection. So geometry, scroll down. Then you have your science classes. Typically for seniors, you're going to be taking an elective, so you may choose what you want as a senior. Then you scroll down. You see your social studies courses. Again, as a senior, you have different things you can choose from. If you're going into grades 9, 10, or 11, you have specific graduation requirements you have to meet. So check your course selection book to make sure you're meeting the graduation requirements in each of those major course areas.
Ms. Bizignani, can I pick 2 courses from one content area?
Yes, you can.
Thank you. So social studies kid.
Okay.
I might take psych and...
I was going to say, if you're a senior, psychology, there's the sociology. Those are 1-credit courses. The half-credit course would be world religions. So
one now. That's a 1.
Oh, it is a 1 course? It is 1 credit now. They changed that this year. And you can see there's some other elective courses. So again, if you have an area of interest in like social studies or science, there's a great deal more electives for you to choose from. And you do need elective credits for graduation. You need 3.5 elective classes. So those extra classes in a content area, once it meets the grad requirement, goes into your electives column.
This is where that, graduation 4-year plan that, students, if you've been working on your 4-year plan, this is where this becomes important because, you'll have some staff members to talk to. Maybe you're interested in becoming a physical therapist and you want to make sure you're taking the high school courses that help you prepare for your post-secondary education, right? So if you want to be a physical therapist, I would tell you, you really better take anatomy, physiology. Like that has to be a science. Biology would be smart, AP biology, anatomy, physiology, physics. Those are courses that you really should be taking, right? And maybe Chem 2 is not the most important elective. Like a better match elective would be these. And we want you to be thoughtful about, we want our students to be thoughtful about the courses they're scheduling based on their career goals, post-secondary goals. And we have we keep trying to expand our offerings to give kids options to help satisfy their career goals. Everything from jewelry making, anatomy, physiology, world religions, like in every content area we really try to create things for kids to move them in the direction of their career and post-secondary education goals.
Okay, so if we scroll down to the next section, this is the elective course section. So each of these windows opens up and closes. So depending on what a student has an area of interest in or if they need to meet a graduation requirement, if they're interested in art courses, it gives a listing of the art courses on the left-hand side. And again, the question mark gives you any of the descriptions that would be in the course selection book. So on the left-hand side, when you're picking those classes, those are your first choices. These are your things that you're telling me are your most favorite choices when you're picking for your schedule. On the right-hand side, you also see a section here for checkoffs. Now, let's just say, for example, a student wants to take art appreciation and clicks off art appreciation. If they try to click it off in the alternative choice, it will not do it. So it won't
not select a request as both an elective and an alternate.
Correct. So then what you would do is maybe art appreciation, art fundamentals. I do find they have some similar characteristics, but one's a whole credit and one's a half credit. So you can choose that as an alternative choice. I tell students that are coming up as 8th graders, I was over there, I always tell them, I said, this is a request form, not a guarantee form. So when you're filling this out, you're giving me your most favorite choices on the left-hand side, but on the right-hand side are your alternative choices, and you're telling me these are classes that I'm willing to take if I don't get my first choice. So you want to make sure that you pick at least 4 different alternative choices so that you have some options, because when the computer schedules you, it'll look at those alternative choices if it can't give you your first choice. So I tell students you're picking classes like you would pick for college, that you have so many choices and you have to have backups just in case you don't get your first choice.
You can keep sliding up to see where you are.
It's also down at the bottom as well.
Yeah.
So if you look down at the bottom, you can see right now we have 6 credits picked. So if you look at some of the other openings, I do recommend students going from each grade, make sure you check and see what graduation requirements you're doing. If you haven't taken digital concepts yet, that's a graduation requirement. That would be a good one to get in. Look at your gym classes. You need 3 classes of gym to graduate from Northeastern High School, so you want to make sure you get your gym classes in. If you are in the music department, there is the applied music. If you go to the applied music section, or the music section, right there. If you look, the music section, there is applied music. You must click off the applied music. That's the first 40 minutes of the day. Students as freshmen are familiar with that now. And you must pick 2 additional courses on the left-hand side because those go into the skinny time block, that 40 minutes right after the music. So that fills that time sequence for our period 1, 2 time block. So music is always the first period of the day. And then students take 2 classes that are in the skinny time blocks that stretch out over the fall semester and the spring semester. I do recommend always picking an alternative choice in this section too, in case you do not get your first choice. So if we scroll down, go down to the very bottom, because that says 9. So if we go back, like he has French 4 clicked off, so that would actually be our 8. Now, if a student decides to change their mind on something, they can. There is a window of time for this. So right now, the student has picked alternative choices. They've picked their first choices. Then they must save their course request form. The course request form is saved either up in the upper left-hand side or down at the bottom. You can see there's also a Save a Course Request form. So if it's saved, the form looks like this, and you can see the classes that they picked. They picked their English 11, geometry, they've picked science courses, and also their social studies. You can see the first section is their 4 courses that are the part of their electives that they picked down there, and then at the very bottom it says alternative choices. Those were the things that the student picked as alternative choices. Now, you may go back, if you change your mind, you're looking at it, if you made a mistake, that's okay. Oops, I didn't mean to click that off, that's okay. You can always go back and change it. The only thing is when you go back and make the changes, please make sure you have to resave it again, or it'll keep that original form that you picked. So you want to make sure that each time you go back or change your mind on something, you're saving the document afterwards, and that you're picking 8 credits worth of classes, and that you have at least 4 alternative choices for the computer in case you do not get your first choice.
I just did it. I just went back. I made a change. See that I just changed my social studies classes. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Very easy.
Right, so that's what I'm saying. This is very self-guided. It's very easy to pick out the things. The hardest thing is making your mind up with so many different choices. The only other thing that I want to point out, and this is just a reminder, go down to the elective classes. Go down to, I don't know, okay, here, go to the tech ed section.
23 courses.
Okay, so let's say you see computer aid drafting. Click on the computer aid drafting. You can see also computer aid drafting. Click on the question mark, please. You can see computer aid drafting's in the pink. If it's in the pink, that means there's a prerequisite course that you have to take before you take the CAD course. The course description will tell you what the prerequisite course is. So you as a freshman this year, if you've taken Intro to Drafting and you enjoyed it and you want to take CAD, go ahead and click off the CAD. But if you've not taken Introduction to Drafting, I wouldn't recommend clicking off the CAD because you have to have the prerequisite course first.
Can you check that with the hope, could you check them both in the hope that you get the first one, you get the Intro to Drafting first and then CAD in the second semester?
I typically warn about this. Yes, you can, because that's the one thing about a block schedule that is really good, is that you can take something that's in the fall semester and take something in the spring semester. I tell students if they do choose to do something like that, if they click off the Intro to Drafting and CAD at the same time, I would only maybe choose one pair like that. I wouldn't go and choose a bunch of pairs that you have to rely on getting something else. Because what happens over the summer is the guidance counselors are in over the summer, And I've had this happen with students that click off both. The computer can't differentiate. I mean, I can put in fall semester and spring semester to try and differentiate for the computer when that class should be scheduled, but that computer is very sneaky. What it will do is it'll schedule the CAD class in the spring semester, like I said, but for some reason it couldn't schedule the intro to drafting in the fall semester. So then what happens is I have to take the CAD out, and then I might not be able to put the intro to drafting in at all. So I tell students, be very careful with that if you choose to do a combination, I would only do one just in case.
So there's no opportunity for us to, at this point, identify what semester something.
Correct.
Mm-hmm. We just don't have that opportunity.
Exactly. Any questions on the scheduling?
Applied music. Tell them that counts for that. No matter what music course. That's music.
Oh, right. And if you actually click on the applied music in the question mark, it will actually tell you that. Yep. See, it says consists of band, chorus, and orchestra. So applied music is all three of them. So it actually tells you that in the description as well. And then when students go down there, like I said, they separate you out into the different things. If you signed up for chorus, if you signed up for orchestra, if you signed up for band. So they separate you out that first day. Any other questions?
So that is basically the important stuff. We'll have hard copies of the course selection guide in the RMC. There's also electronic copies. I'll let you see Dr. Bream, who's in the RMC, because I'm not sure if she sent it out on Schoology or where it's posted. She'll be able to tell you that. I don't want to give you the wrong information, have you looking. But we do have some hard copies, and if your student has his or her Chromebook with them, they can access, she'll be able to tell them how to access it so they can see it electronically. But we have several hard copies. If there are no questions about this scheduling part, this part of it, if you are ready to build a schedule, you can head up to the, when I say RMC, that's the Rudders Media Center. That's the old library across from the 9th grade office. There were a bunch of little bitty wrestlers out in front of it earlier. So if you are ready to schedule, if you're ready, you can go do that. Let me tell you what's coming up next, though. In about 5 minutes, we have 2 teams of people who will be talking. Well, we'll have one team, and then I'll be talking for another team. The first team is our advanced placement teachers. They'll do their advanced placement information. They have some students to give testimonials, talk about their courses. They're there to talk about their courses. And oh, do I have that backwards? We'll have those guys. So I'll talk about, I'm sorry, what I'll do at 7 o'clock is talk about dual enrollment. And that's an opportunity for kids to enroll in college and high school at the same time. Right? We have that opportunity. Kids can take courses in college while in high school and do a partial day at college, partial day here, or they can do a cyber. I know Hack has a cyber program, they have their virtual campus. So we have that opportunity. We also have Thaddeus Stevens here, and they have what's called their early enrollment program, where students take their whole senior year at Thaddeus Stevens, and it's a remarkable value. All of these offer remarkable values. So if your student is thinking, is a junior or senior, and is thinking of post-secondary plans, they will want to hear about this. This is an incredible value for families. It's a great opportunity for students. We have Penn State, York College, Hack. There are 3 programs that we have relationships with, and in a dual enrollment sense, and we have a relationship with Thaddeus Stevens for the early enrollment program. In fact, we have our first student that I know of heading there next fall. He'll be a senior next fall, and he's going there. We signed the contract. Finally, the board signed it, so we're good to go. But we have a long-standing agreement with the other folks, too. And we've actually had kids in a couple other colleges who aren't here. Messiah, we've had kids do Messiah as well. So, and then after that, AP teachers will be able to talk about the AP programs. Those are college-level courses taught in high school by high school instructors. These courses are weighted at a 1.1 weight. That's nice. You get an extra, 1.1 is the multiplier for their GPA. So if you're not interested, if your kid is a 9th or 10th grader, and you're not interested in that, or if your kid's not interested in AP yet, you're welcome to go head up to the Rudders Media Center. But if you want to hear about this, there are AP opportunities for underclassmen. There are opportunities for where 9th graders and 10th graders can take certain courses. That opportunity doesn't really exist for dual enrollment. And we will do dual enrollment was the plan for you guys to go on at 7:30? So at 7:30, we'll do the AP side. If you want to go up and start building a schedule and just hear about dual enrollment, we'll do that from 7 to 7:30. At 7:30, we'll have the AP folks talk. Take a couple minutes, do your thing.